Okay, good afternoon. I hope everyone is well. It's the 9th of July. So far, I was just looking at that trade there as a higher low. We seem to be going sideways. We've had a little breakout which has failed here. So we've had a push up and a bearish bar there which is triggered. So that for me was going to stop that out. There's going to be some liquidity there for sure, which we've sort of bounced off but not pushed up. If we can get up there, there's probably going to be some up there. So I'd have thought that likely we were going to push up. But it's hard to say really. So I left it alone at the moment because we've hit this new high 3 times. So you just don't know. And what I will say is on my other chart, this doesn't look like we've had a break. This one does. So I'm kind of leaving it there, but we're sort of holding on there. But is that going to get taken out? It certainly could. Certainly possible. My only other issue with that as well in this channel here, we're right at the very top here, so there's not much more room to go in all fairness. So I decided just to wait. It was a slightly larger bar. Okay, market is open. So I think it's likely to work, but you just don't know. Just the fact that it's up here. So if you got in on a limit order, you may even get in on a limit order. And hey, Speedy, how you doing, bud? But this isn't looking too good, is it? So I'm kind of glad I left it. Let's see if this triggers. This bearish bar triggers. This bearish bar triggers and it pushes up. Let's see if that would have got eaten. Probably. Trouble is, once it comes back that far, it's got to be a very strong position. I'm not convinced it is. So we'll see. If we can start to push up now and then start to move, then I believe we're going to get up to the top. In fact, you could say that's even a triple test, couldn't you? Very tempting there. Excuse me a sec. Sorry about that. Yes, I'm glad I left it. Just not sure about this at the moment. And the reason being is I kind of like the way we got this other chart up here as well. And if you look at this other chart, if I zoom in a bit, I don't think we've had a break there. So this could come down and have another go at this line. So I'm kind of glad. So far that position's held, but I don't hold much because there's going to be some liquidity there, surely, isn't there? I'd have liked to have seen that trigger, but if that triggers, it stops that out, yeah. So I'm kind of glad I left that alone. Possible second entry long now, we'll see. So Private Ryan, how are you doing, bud? K3, how are you? So there is a second entry long there. You could call that a triple test, but at the moment, I'm just not sure what's going on. We have come down and had a go at this line. So I'll have to just have a look at that. It was in the middle of the trader range. Yeah, I mean, if that had closed down here, it might have been a bit different, but the fact that it was close to the top of this anyway, I don't mind taking them as long as I sort of got a good idea where they're going to go. I think this is likely to get up here. There's going to be some liquidity there for sure. So that second entry long did work. I think it's very likely to get up here. So yeah, that second entry did work, but it just, as it's coming down, it got quite close to this, and it's still under that EMA, so you just don't know, do you? Little gap there. So let me just remove this. So that's got stopped out. There's going to be some liquidity there, possibly even there, so I think there's a good chance of getting towards this top leg, 2 legs back. Nice to trap some shorts here. So push up, little pullback. Trouble is, if it triggers that, it's too far from that EMA for me, really. And if it comes right down to the EMA, it's almost giving it a scalp. Excuse me a sec. Sorry. Dog scratching's coming. I like the way that's triggered. I'm pretty sure that's going to get stopped out. Makes perfect sense, doesn't it? And if it gets above there, I think it's likely to get to the tops. But it's just too far from that EMA for me, because we could have a leg and it could come down. It's always possible. It's a bit early. As I say, this to me looks like it's had a break. Let's keep it tight. It's fitting nice at the bottom. It's a little break. The chart up the top, I'm not convinced has. Sorry, to your left. I'm not convinced has. So I'm a bit on the fence here. So we've got some news coming up. Well, it's Powell talking, so I don't think we'll have any sort of high impact initially stuff, but it's something that could sort of spike around a bit. Okay, so it's doing what I thought it would do from this breakout. But that bar there, it was a bit too big and it was very close to the top of this. There wasn't much room, in all fairness. So it's just one of those things. If it was a little bit lower and the bar finished here, I may have had a go, but it is what it is. Okay, so that's done that. It's pushed above any liquidity there, so that's good. So we've got a leg and a leg. So that did work nice, actually. So there's a bearish bar there. I would probably wait for the lower high, although it has pushed up and cleared any liquidity there. Quite likely. It depends where stops are going to be, but I don't think it's a terrible trade. But I'm not a massive fan of picking tops and bottoms. I don't consider myself very good at it, although we have trapped that nice bull bar. So I tend to wait for the lower highs. I just find them a little bit less risky. Although it was quite a small risk. 6 ticks. If you got in on the nail and put a tick up there, it's a 1.5, so it's not a lot really. My other concern is as well, we've had a breakout of this range there, and sometimes when we do, we get one the opposite side. And in all fairness, you could say it's already had a break, because if you put that there, it's got plenty of support there, so it technically has had a break actually, so I didn't consider that. So that actually I don't think was a bad trade. We've had a leg and a leg, and we've also had 2 separate legs there, so it is a second entry short. So failing that, I think that was an okay trade actually. It clearly worked. At the time, I'm just focusing on these all-time highs, see, but if you look at that, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 touches there. That is actually a breakout because it's closed above all this, so it is actual breakout. So I actually don't think it was a bad trade, so I'm going to mark that as one I missed, but just one that clearly did work. I'd have gone for 2 points there, which clearly worked. Yeah, it went for obviously a tick or so below there. You still got your it may come down. But yeah, that's what I mean. When we get one here, sometimes we'll get one. Excuse me a sec. Sorry about that. Sorry about the barking. Someone knocked at the door. That's all shit. Okay, now this concerns me about doing a lower high here. Maybe we're retesting this, but that big stem there. concerns me. My only slight worry is that there's a bigger channel there. Maybe there isn't. It's just the way that's come down and pushed up strong is concerning me just a little bit. So we've had this push up initially in sideways. We could go up a little bit. So that may trigger and we may get a second entry long. I might be over analysing it, but if this comes down and closes here, we could trigger it and push up. Yeah, it's finished with a wick on it. I don't like it anyway. So, see, we've come from here and we've come back and bounced twice here. So this is looking like a possible. There's going to be some shorts in there for certain and quite likely there. So this could break down and push up. Excuse me a minute. I'm just going to copy that. I think it's gone beyond there, I think. Yes. No, let's get rid of that. Yeah, so there is a lower high, but I don't like those three stems. They're making me a bit nervous, but I think it's likely it's going to come down. There is a possibility of a higher low, but at the moment we are just ranging, so I've got to treat it as a range. So the last thing I want to do is let it come down and go long. He's waiting for the lower high there. Yeah, I think I overthink things sometimes, thinking that there's a bigger channel. The only reason I say that is because we've had a push-up. A lot of times we have a push-up, go sideways and have a push-up. It's like a mirror image. It doesn't mean we will. I wish I'd have taken that trade now. I just had that. I didn't have it there. I had that down. I was looking at just the highs. I was looking for the breakout. But when you put that in there and take away the all-time highs, we have got a breakout. It's two lovely legs up, leg, break, leg, and also two separate legs there. So I think that's actually a solid trade. But Thomas Wade didn't take it, which is surprising a bit. But as I say, this push up sideways, I was kind of expecting another one. So so there is so much variation, isn't there? You know. And then taking a short there in the middle, same again, probably a bit risky. Let's put a proper range in so I can see that midline. Yeah, so small breakout there and a matching one there. There's a failure there, see, but like I say, by the time that closes bearish, if it does, it's going to be down here. Yeah, Thomas Wade just says we are consolidating, but we trade it up into it, so there's a slight bullish bias, which I kind of agree. That's why I was thinking maybe a second entry long, trapping shorts for a little bit more of a push-up. It's only a possibility, but it's enough of a possibility to keep me out of trading a short at the moment. But in all fairness, that wasn't the best looking short I've seen, and that certainly isn't anyway. So just to say, but that I think was a nice trade. Got a little breakout here. You expect the same there in a lot of cases. It's clearly two legs and two little separate legs in this second push. Breaks above there, clears out any liquidity, and there's nothing up here really. See, there's no support up here. There's no, you know, there may be orders, but ordinarily there should be nothing up here really. So we need to sort of create some support and resistance really. So I don't think that was a bad trade. Clearly worked and relatively quick as well. And obviously then we had that little bit of a pullback. So it's hard to say here. The thing is, we've come from the top to the bottom, to the top to the bottom, to the top to the bottom, and we've had this little pullback mid-range, which could potentially spell out something like this. But we've actually passed there, but maybe there is a channel there, and this is a break, and we're pushing up. It's hard to say, really. It's not super clear. But with this slight bullish feel to it, do you know what I mean? We've got a leg and a higher low. The trouble is, do you really want to go long into this? I'm not saying it won't work, but it is 2 legs back. But the way that pull back there tells me that maybe there is some shorts here after that leg back that want to kind of protect it. But I don't know. I don't really want to go long into this. Not quite yet. So there is a higher low there. Range rules for now, yeah. So I'm certainly not thinking, considering long. I mean, if anything, really, a second entry short. The thing is, I can't see many shorts trapped there. There possibly, yes, but that's the highest of the day. So I think if it's going to push up anyway, that's out of the question. I can't see many short in that because of the bar. But what I will say, there's quite likely going to be some longs in there, isn't there? Now that's triggered. So we could have 2 legs down and a second entry short, but we've got a doji here. So this could come down. There just may be a wider channel, that's all. Let's have a look. Yeah, maybe. So I was thinking maybe a second entry short there, but there's a doji, so it's a bit, but there again, we could have that. We got a little break. So there's a bunch of different, that's the trouble with price actions. Sometimes it's not always that clear. But there's 3 little bars there, and then a break, and then a push down, and we got a leg and a leg. So there's going to be some longs in there. I think there's probably going to be some longs buying there, and it may push up there, but it's just not very clear for me, to be honest with you. Maybe there's a bit of a spike in the channel. Who knows? Not sure. Yeah, I'm just reading some of the comments in Thomas Way's Discord. A lot of people saying nice bullish bar, but at the moment we don't know whether we're going up or coming down. We're obviously ranging, but at some point that could change. What I will say, we've actually made it to the top and we've only got so far down, and now we seem to be turning tail. So I think there's a likely chance that this could work up, which is why I've been kind of looking for something like a channel. But I'm not sure at the moment. It's not very clear. It's a little bit, tiny bit choppy. But there's going to be some longs in there, I don't doubt. Now that's triggered across there as well, so we could get a quick flush down, taking out liquidity there and there. And if it does come down past this loss, it may target this bottom. It's a bit hard to say. That's just the stuff that goes around in my brain. So take it with a pinch of salt. This is just me thinking out aloud. Shit, I totally does that. Just putting that there as all-time high. So Trouble is, once you get up there, we're into new territory then, so you don't know where it's going to bounce. At least here we've got something, you know, some kind of reference where it could get to, but once it gets up here, apart from a pullback to this level, we're in the lap of the gods. When prices move into liquidity, is it where you would see support and resistance? When people say, yeah, price generally moves towards liquidity, doesn't it? So here, there'll be liquidity there. There'll be money up there, won't there? People taking shorts. There'll be stops up there. So a lot of the time, for instance, that higher low I looked at there triggered. There'd have been some traders in there, but it came down and took out that level. And then we pushed up. Now, if there'd have been a channel up here, we had that big strong pushback there and another bullish bar. So there'd probably been traders there, which triggered it and then came down, took out any liquidity. So it tends to move up and down and take out areas of liquidity, which is why when you get into a trade, you've got to get into a very solid trade. That to me is very solid. And when we had that kind of push down, it never got close to that. So these bigger positions, these stronger positions tend to hold, and they tend to take out the weaker positions. Zoom out, draw a line from the low of yesterday. I usually do, actually, from the low, you know, about here. Yeah, that's too much of a broad channel, that is, for me. You want about something like that? You want about something like that? It's too much of a broad channel, that is, really. You can't really say, in all honesty, enough to follow that, really. I mean, it may get up to here and here, but no. Low of the afternoon. You're about here? Okay. It's all right, you said the low of yesterday. That was too broad, that is. So that. Yeah, see, I don't mind looking at previous days, but Mac never does, and I often wonder why. Yeah, I think, in all fairness, I think you have to. I don't think there's a reason that you wouldn't pay attention to that. Yeah, that's interesting. That is. Especially the way it's. Let's see what other people think of this. See, luckily I got Thomas Way's Discord here. So I can get some more opinions. What does anybody else think of that? Good spot. Yeah, it is a good spot. I think it's something you probably got to pay attention to. Copy image. Just get rid of that now. So POS. See what people think. I actually think it's kind of interesting. We'll soon find out, but it is holding there, so I think you've got to pay attention to that. I just wish that was a little bit higher, so let's put that there. Can we do that? Yeah, we can. It is working, isn't it? Thing is, we've gone up so far, we've only come down, we haven't quite come down at the bottom, nor there, nor there. Yeah, I don't think it's about, my only slight concern, it's a bit congested. It's a bit congested. Especially there, if you go long there, it's not a huge risk. Someone else is watching that as well. If it does, I mean, we've got a push up and a big sideways, and a lot of the time it works its way up there. So I don't think it's a bad trade, to be fair. My only slight concern is this. So it's 8 ticks, so it's not huge. But it's huge if you lose it. So my only slight concern is this. If it wasn't quite as congested as that, but there's going to be liquidity there and definitely there. So perhaps it's working. But we are going into support, so what I'd like to do is break out of this and come back here. It's concerning me how it's snapping back. There's longs in there now. Definitely going to be longs in there. So we could have a quick flush down. It's hard to say. My gut feeling tells me to stay out of it because of this. But I have a feeling it may work. We need to get above there, which will get us above there. And then the next stop is there. We could get a really good push then. Aye. There's going to be liquidity there. I'm absolutely certain of it. But I just have a feeling this, because of this, I've gotten to trades like this before because of this. Sometimes they work, but whenever I get in, we get a flush which takes out that, maybe even that. This may hold. It's hard to say. The only issue I have is Mac never ever talks about previous days. Never. So I just wonder why. I can't understand why a guy had been trading why a guy had been trading for like 28 years and doesn't pay attention to that if it was worth looking at. So I don't know, maybe it's not. But yeah, I think a good reason to probably stay out of this is because of the news, but it is working. And once it gets above there, there'll probably be a little pop. There we go. I thought as much. So that was okay, actually. So whoever spotted that, I think that was quite a good spot there. The trouble is, whenever we get a bit of congestion like that, it tends to concern me. But that worked, and it worked nicely. Once it got above there and there, the next point to call is there. So if you took that and you went for 2 points, once it got above there, there's your 2 points. Once it got above there, there's almost certainly going to be a reasonable amount here because it cleared everything there, and there's going to be people trying to pick tops after all this pushing up. There's going to be people trying to pick tops here, hoping we're going to go down. So there's going to be some stops there. We had that quick pop. So I think that was quite a shrewd little spot there. Have a look. To me, it's because he only focused on the small super micro scalps. Thoughts, Brad? Who was it who spotted it? You say your name, CP Chinese, something like that. Yeah, it's not. There's a couple of other people on the Discord who noticed that as well. And in all fairness, if you just look at that, and that, and just back up, and when you see that, how can you not have to pay attention to that, at least to a degree? Put it this way, even if, not necessarily to take a long, but to not get into a short, because we've come down here, we may have a couple of attempts. Sometimes we'll have a couple of attempts to retest this top before it comes down. So even to not take a short into that, let alone, but nice, it worked nicely. My only slight concern was just this, really. Whenever I see congestion like that, it just rings alarm bells. It gives me a bad feeling in my stomach because I've been caught out a lot of the time. But it doesn't mean a good trade isn't going to work. And in all fairness, it was kind of nice for a positional. Let me just get this down here a bit. It was a nice sort of position, wasn't it? And let's face it, what is the best looking bar right the way along there? That's not too bad, is it? Nice 2 legs down, worked like a treat. Look how quick that went up, little pullback straight to the top. Really nice there. That one, 2 legs down, bar's not brilliant. High-low, not bad, but not terrible. sometimes average positions maybe go sideways before they go up. Where's the next best bar? That one. That's the best of the bunch, I think. And look what happened from there, straight up. So I think once you get used to seeing things like this, even though it's congested, you'll have the confidence to get in. So yeah, sorry, it was Mark, wasn't it? My mistake. Mark, yeah, good spot there, mate. You can't deny that. And all of a sudden, see, that's an uptrend. We're into a new day now, but look where it's bounced. Is that chance? Could be chance there. Is that chance? Well, you think it's a bit of a coincidence, wouldn't you? But the third time lucky, 2 legs down, bounce as well? Surely not. What about that one or that one or that one? So, yeah, makes sense. The only slight issue is the news. Having said that, it's Powell speaking. So it's probably not going to spike up like something like CPI would. He's going to be answering questions, so you're probably going to get a little bit of flickering maybe, I don't know. But I wouldn't have said... see, on that other chart, I've got to say, this other chart isn't being nowhere near now as good. Usually a second chart seems to be a bit better, but it's not. This is much clearer to read. I mean, look at that nice bar there. We didn't get it on that one. I'm just going to mark that there as one that was of interest. So that clearly worked there, didn't it, off there? Clearly smashed straight through that. You can always tell, can't you, how many stops there is or what kind of liquidity is there, because we had a quick pop. And once it hit that level, it shot straight up like a 1.25 in a second. Not huge, but it's enough to see where the liquidity is there. So it's definitely playing a part, isn't it? No argument there. Okay, so we have got Powell speaking now. So, you know, I wanted to take it. I really wanted to take it. The only bit that's making me nervous is that. Because you never know. Sometimes it will trigger you, touch here, and then drop quickly. And I think that's just down to bad experience, really. But if you think about there, usually we'll climb up this until we get some really good looking setup, and that will encourage buyers. And I think out of all there, that 2 legs down definitely encouraged buyers, because you can see how nicely it went up. There'd have been some shorts there, but we had a little bit of a pullback and a nice push up. So 2 nice quick legs up, nice and strong right to the top. And then really after that one, semi-okay. That one not brilliant, but that was the best looking one of the bunch. So, you know, it makes sense, doesn't it? A lot of in trading actually just, you know, it makes sense with studying human behavior, and if human beings are spotting this and where they're going to get into the trade. There for sure after a second entry long, 2 legs back, but definitely there. The only slight issue I have is there's a little bit of not much space at the top, and it is a bit congested, which is why I left it personally. But if that bar would have been finished down here somewhere, then I may have had a go at that. But yeah, we have got this news now. Well, it's more of Powell just talking, isn't it? He's being questioned. So I don't expect fireworks, but I think we could get a little bit of volatility from time to time. I think I even heard Max say he doesn't even pay attention to it now so much. Bitcoin doing? I stuck a couple of £1,000 into Bitcoin yesterday. I think I got it at 56 something, so it's up a little bit. Okay, it's a little bit stagnant at the moment. Powell's speaking. It's actually quite a bit different, this chart, this other chart. Let's put that up there, see if that looks as good. It doesn't, does it? Or does it? Maybe. Are we going to get a big cave now, are we? We're up new highs, all-time highs there we've just hit. So are we going to get a fairly significant pullback? Or are we still going to kind of work sideways? Yeah, so just keep in mind that Powell is speaking, so could get a few flutters from time to time. Oh, was he really? Was he? Interesting. So it's clearly working up there. So I'm just going to clear this up a little bit now. Is he really? Where do you watch him, Speedy? Does he make YouTube videos or something? I have seen bits before, but I've never looked sort of too in depth into him really. I probably should. Whenever I've tried, I kind of fall asleep. He's got that kind of mannerisms, isn't he, which sort of put you to sleep a little bit. He's very technical. It's like he said something people didn't like. Who's that? Something about 10%, a minus 10% drop. That's a fair old drop, isn't it? Can I send you on Facebook, I think? Yeah, of course you can, mate. Yeah, no problem. I think I've seen you somewhere on Facebook. Yeah. Yeah, of course you can, mate. No, I haven't got a Discord. I opened one once, but we kept getting loads of spam and loads of people messaging me saying, have I messaged them? So I kind of binned it. You're on Mac's Facebook group, aren't you? Just drop it in there. Just drop one in there. Message me from there. Max price action. You know the one most of us are on. Max price action. Day trading. You're on there. You're bound to be, aren't you? So, in fact, I'll leave that on there so I'm aware of it, but take it off here. I'm going to put that there now because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 touches there. We've still got this little breakout, or do I? Or do I? No, let's put it back there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We went Powell. With that. So we've had this clearer breakout now. So we've got a leg down with a break. So second entry short possible. It's come down too far now, though, unfortunately. Or as near as, maybe. Interesting. Well, I was thinking about a possible short here, but I think that's a bit late. We could. I didn't expect that. Yeah, see, ordinarily after this, you'd think possible second entry or a couple of pushes and then testing the new low, but it depends what's coming out of Powell's mouth, really. If he's talking positive, that may sort of move the market slightly upwards and vice versa. So this price action while he's talking might not act how it normally does. Yeah, that's two quite strong pushes there, isn't it? Now, after this, a push up with sideways, often we get another one like a mirror image. So it just may be a little bit unpredictable while he's speaking. Anybody know how long he normally talks for? So thinking about that now, looking at that channel, let's pull it out a little bit. Looking at that channel there, this just could be the first break, and it could push up, make a new high technically. You never hear Mac talking about previous days or linking any. I don't think I've ever seen him link a trend up from the. Or have I? I can't remember now. I can't remember where I have seen him hook up another chart from the previous day. Because that's clearly running up that line, and then we've had a break with kind of a strong push up, but who knows? So is this now going to push up, take out that high, and make a new high with a possible channel? Interesting. Second entry short, possible lower high. Trouble is, for me, this looks like it's acting a little bit erratically, and that may be down to Powell. There's a lower high there, which might not be a terrible trade. My only slight concern is it's Powell's talking, so it could act a little bit erratically. That's an unusually... I wasn't expecting that, see. So this could trap shorts and push up. It's hard to say at the moment, so I'm not taking that either. It's not a massive risk and it may work, but for me, just not sure. We pushed up, we pushed up really strong all of a sudden, didn't we? So if we get a bullish bar there, which triggers and turns into a failed second entry long, that may be a safer option. I mean, as far as a range goes, we've broken out the range, pull back in, and it is a lower high, and it may trap. There's a second entry long there. It may trigger and come down. But for me, that's just a little bit too far above that AMA for me. That would just make me a little bit wary. I like the fact that we're bouncing off this underline, but for me, it's just a little bit unpredictable. We got a leg up, maybe two legs back and another leg up. That strong move is just concerned me. When you get into a trade, that's not what you want to see. Where's liquidity here? It's got to be above there and there, isn't it? It's up. There's a lot more up than there is down. Would you bought that? Not really. Would you bought that one? Not really, because we're not at the bottoms. That one you may, so it may trigger, stop that out and then push up. Might be a double trap. I don't know. It's just a bit unclear for me. That bit threw me. We had a break out of him. We came right down relatively strongly. I thought we were going to have a break and maybe test the lows, but we rocketed up quickly. So whether that's something to do with Powell talking, but I wasn't expecting that. So that lower high for me is a bit risky. Second entry long is also a bit risky. We're getting a little bit of congestion there, see, so best thing to do for me is just to stay out of this. It's going sideways, so there's a little bit of uncertainty there. I don't know what I prefer coming down. I think the natural thing is the way it's bouncing, it would more likely come down, but that quick push just threw me. Oh, and we're clearly stacking there. We've got two doges. So if you took that long, trigger just stopped you out. Let's see how that lower high worked out. So if you want to tick below there, you would have had a point so far. It's got to push through, so there's a point available. Where's it going now? Is it going to continue down? It's definitely pushed down and reacted off this, so it may do. See, I'd want 2 points out there or on that midline. Once it goes so far, I think it'll come then. Yeah, I may have had a go at that if that wasn't so strong. So it may be a little bit of Powell speaking, actually. That may cause this little bit, these unusual moves. That doesn't look like a natural move to me. Not that strong, especially after not coming to the bottom. So you'd have got a point off that. It may come down some more, but if you got a tick below, which would have been about there, so you'd have got a point. You've got to push through to get that point. Okay, Powell's having a chat now anyway, and price is a bit stagnant. It's a bit unclear, so I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break now while it's quiet. Make a quick cup of coffee. And I'll be back. I'll do it now while it's quite quiet at the moment. Powell's chatting, I'll let him do his stuff, and I'll be about 3 to 5 minutes. Look. Interesting. So I'm assuming Powell's still speaking, is he? So we're going to break. So we're going to break, pushing for a new low. I mean, we've made a few attempts to push higher there, and we have, and then we haven't got as high there, so we could... who knows? God only knows. One attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher. Penguin style trade, that is. First attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher. Oh. I mean, we could just be ranging still. Could just be ranging. I mean, this looks like it's pushing up quite strongly. Nothing to clear up there, just straight up. No higher lows to clear out. So it's just still acting like a range to me. I did wonder, because we had that initial push up, whether we were going to have something, because we kind of started working sort of here. So I thought push up sideways and then up again. But what I will say is if we go from here to there and then maybe there, no, we're still a million miles away. So it is just acting like a range, to be honest with you. Whether we'll eventually break out and go higher or lower, who knows? So we came off the bottoms and then worked up sideways. So I wonder whether we're going to have two legs, second entry, similar to that one, and then push up again. But it is very much ranging it. There's nothing else I could see. This is, I would say this is a little failed breakout, and we had another go, but it didn't work. So yeah, looking at that, I've been caught out in those before. Just clear this up. A little higher low there, triggered, two legs back, took out any liquidity there, and then straight up from there. So I think patience is the game, leaving those alone and then just seeing, because a lot of times they'll trigger them, stop them out, and as they stop them out, they naturally create two legs down, take out any liquidity. There's nothing left there apart from here. It's up to the top, clearing this out next. So that worked nice, that did. You could even say maybe a triple test. Definitely a second entry long, push up, break new high, second entry long, and then up to the top, whether you consider this at the top at the time or and eventually here. But all these positions, that one held, that one even held, and that one. So these good strong positions off the right place tend to hold. But at the time, I thought that was maybe going to work a lot higher than it did. Because that sort of larger channel that we talked about, but I think it's just come up and gone sideways. It's definitely acted as a range, so I think we just got to treat it as a range. So I wouldn't want to go long there. That for me would be risky, so it'd be interesting to see if it does, well, it's triggered it, whether it comes down a little bit. Sometimes it'll just push up. But if I took that trade, now having said that, there's something I mentioned quite a few times in the past. Whenever we get one of these type of little sort of trades, whenever, like this one here, this type of thing, whenever we get a bullish bar in a downtrend, it tends to trigger it and come down. Same again, triggered it and come down. So we got the opposite there, a bearish bar, so it's moved over. So perhaps it may push up. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know if Powell's still speaking. Yeah, he's still speaking. I'll just put my phone on. Just while he's speaking. Okay, little channel with looks like a break and a new high. So small risk there. Any liquidity there has been taken out. It's a small risk, that is. But I think I'm going to wait for the lower high if we get one. Trouble is, we've had a little breakout there, and we often get one the opposite end. So we didn't really have any liquidity apart from that. We've got some now. So let's see if that pushes higher and takes out that, or we get a lower high.
Order submitted.
See what happens here. I wouldn't expect that one to hold, but at the moment, because of this, I'm just going to sit tight here at the minute.
Order cancelled.
That was a little bit more bearish. A lot of the times when we get that first one, it'll trigger, stop it out, trap along, and then come down. We've had sort of a little break there. If that had been a little bit more bearish, I may have had a go at that. But what I like is we've got a little channel with a break. First little bearish bar which triggered, stopped out, then another bearish bar pushed up to a matching all-time high. And that'd have been a comfortable 2 points there, I think. Yeah. Okay, so straight back to the MA, touch it and bounce. Yeah, he's still talking. He's being questioned at the moment. Oh, it's more like an interrogation, isn't it? See, Thomas Wade has got this as one big channel. Not so sure. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm not saying he's right, but in which case he would possibly be looking for a long margins range rule, so I can't see it, but that to me just doesn't. Possible, yeah. The trouble is I won't want to go long into there because we've broken out here and we've pushed back. We've made another test of it and it's come down. So I just, that to me, I think is more likely a push up and a break. It's two legs anyway, so it's two legs to the top, whether it's a channel or not. But for me, I would feel more comfortable assuming we've already had a break, push up, break, and we're going sideways as well as up. So a second entry long, I'm not saying it wouldn't work, but at the moment we're coming off the tops down to the bottoms. Now we've come off the top here and we've had a push up and had a new attempt and come down. So we've pushed up, we've come back down again and pushed up and had a new attempt and come down. So my gut tells me this, because we've had a breakout in here, it's more likely a range and we're more likely to come down. But don't let me dissuade you, from taking a trade if you believe it to be a long trade. I'm not saying it's not and it won't work, but for me at the moment, because we're coming off the tops, I wouldn't want to be going long here, personally. We may not even get a setup. It may come down and just have another attempt to go up again and then fail. It's hard to say at the moment, but for me, my gut tells me it's more likely to come down towards the bottoms. Especially after a breakout, a failed breakout, the same as here. Often we get a match in top and bottom, and then we're down. We've come up and tested this line. So for me, it's more likely going to go down towards the bottom. Just with what's happening, top, bottom, top. But if you believe it to be a long, don't let me dissuade you. Fell second entry. If it traps a long here, then I would think the safer would have been the option. But we've had a good push down anyway, so I think a failed second entry is probably a bit. The chances come and gone. I think, but there was nothing there really, so it makes sense to come down here, especially after we've had a matching breakout here and we've pulled in pretty strong and touched that top line and straight over and down. So similar here. We came back and touched it like we did there, and we've had a very similar channel down here. So maybe we get a break here. I was kind of thinking we'd have a second entry short here, but then it just rocketed up. So be interesting to see if we have a break and a second entry short, or whether we have whether we sort of do very similar to what we did here and just up we go. I think with that bearish bar above there, I think it now likely it's going to come down, I think. I've actually got a bigger channel than this one up there. Can we do it there, maybe? Doesn't work as well, does it? No. I mean, look at that one up there, or to your left. Much need to that one. Bill, how you doing, bud? I'm about to butt some. I'm about to buy, I'm assuming you're saying. I'm about to butt some evaluations. Do you know when the next 90% off? I have a feeling we may not get one. And the reason I say that is because whenever we do, we seem to get rhythmic problems galore because of the sheer amount of people. So my gut is telling me if we do, I don't know. I think you're going to be lucky if we do. Because if you remember the last time we had an 80% off, it was just a pain in the arse, wasn't it? It was rhythmic, was constantly. I think there's so many people taking trades. So I would say after the last one, and it seemed to be, whether it was anything to do with we had these larger accounts and things like the 250, people were trading. That may have been it, actually. I think it may have been the fact that people were trading the news with those 250 accounts, and I think it just caused a lot of problems. So whether that was to do with the 90% off or just because the fact that those bigger channels were part of it, I don't know. But this 80% off finishes tomorrow, either end of trading day or midnight, one of the two. And then I'm not sure what we get. My gut tells me we're probably going to have 71% for a week or something like that. We tend to do that. 71%, then $40 resets, something like that. But you never know. Sometimes they've got a habit of surprising you. But my gut tells me, I don't want to say yes and I don't want to say no, but I would say personally it's more likely we have the 71% off. But I honestly don't know. My gut tells me that that's more likely because when we had the 90% off, it was just a ball like thing was rhythm. It was just constantly down, and that was when we had the 90% off. So whether anything's changed or whether they'll do it again, I don't know. I think that it'd probably been better just doing it at not including the 50% off. Not include the cheaper 250 accounts and 300 accounts. I think those caused the problem. Because people were trading the news. Otherwise, the only other option is to try and slowly get $15,000 profit. It's quite a lot, really. So I wouldn't like to say, but I would say it would be more likely the 71%. But if you wanted to get some, perhaps get some at the 80 and then, try your luck, see what happens. I'm just looking at this. We've had a channel down with a break. There's some longs trapped there, and there is a bearish bar there, but in all fairness, it's a bit congested, and I've been stung on these before. We could get a push up, take out this, maybe have another attempt. It's hard to say at the moment, that is. That might work. It might not. But I would say I would like to see these. I mean, we've pushed down, we've had a break. I would like to see this area filled, and I think it's likely that it will be. Oh, my rhythmic flashed off. we don't seem to go from 80 to 90 straight away. We tend to flick lately. Before we had that 90, we tended to flick between 71% and then 80%, 71 and 80. And they did say, if you remember, a few months ago, they will unlikely have those 90% offs again. So when they had the 90% off, I was quite surprised. I didn't think we'd see one for a while. But I don't know whether it was... I think it was more likely that a lot of the rhythmic issues were caused with because they had the 250 accounts that you could, get for $40 and pay a lifetime fee of $85. So every man and his dog was grabbing them and trading the news, and it seemed to be collapsing. So whether it was the sheer amount of evaluations taken or whether it was to do with the larger accounts trading the news, I wouldn't like to say, but it is a ball ache, I've got to say. I hope they sort this out. I want to be trading 20 me accounts. I did a nice trade yesterday, 2 points. I got $2,000. If I'd have traded all of them, I'd have got $4,000, and a lot of other times as well. And I know you can lose that as well, but I obviously, if you win a lot more than you lose, you're going to make more money. But I just don't trust Rhythmic enough to want to trade all my accounts, because if something goes tits up on 10 of them, at least I've got the other 10. But if I lose the whole lot, I'm kind of screwed. And I don't want to be going through it all again. It's just a pain in the arse to build up to 20 accounts. So I'd rather just keep the ones I got and not lose them. So I think the only safe option is to just split them half and half. Is there a larger? Okay, so there is a lower high there. I would be concerned about taking that personally because of the sheer distance, but it may work. We've trapped some longs there, taken them out. I think every long is out of there. It's cleared up liquidity, hasn't it? So I would think it will likely come back, but you never know. Powell is speaking, so if he opens his mouth and says the wrong thing, he may decide to go up. But that, to me, ordinarily is a little bit too far from that EMA for comfort. I'd want that at least halfway up there, so it wouldn't be one I'd have taken, and you'd want to be out before these lows, really, although it is highly likely going to get down the bottom, so it depends on your risk, whether you want to take that or not, but I'm just staying out of that. I wonder if there's a larger channel. It's possible. Maybe a larger channel. Karina, how are you? There is some problems with Rhythmic, apparently. They're going to change data provider in 3 months. Thank God for that. Thank God for that. So that's good news. They've got to do something, because if they keep getting more and more problems, sooner or later people are going to jump ship and go somewhere else. They have to do something. I've always had the opinion that if they sell you a package that they specify you have to use a certain piece of software, if that software breaks down, my feeling is they need to be responsible for it. You can't sell a product or a package and not... Now, for the most, they do, but when it happens to a few people, I hear people saying they didn't sort me out, so... which is why I only trade 10 of mine instead of 20. But that's good news, Karina. Thank you for bringing us some good news. They need to do something. It's too scary. The more things go wrong with Rhythmic, the more people are going to hold back on getting more and more evaluations or more PA accounts. They're going to keep it low, so it's going to benefit them as much as it is us. So that's good news. 3 months seems a way away, but that'll soon go, I think. I'm surprised we've not heard nothing from Darryl Martin lately. We haven't heard a thing, have we? Apex support say third party. They don't go to reset balance, restore accounts, so be careful when you trade PAs. Better trade, yeah. I don't agree with that personally. I know if they have a massive outage, they do, but if you sell a package and as part of that package, you have to use a piece of software, they don't leave it up to you, then you've got to make sure that software works. Otherwise, what's the point? But there you go. Apart from that, if they can get this thing sorted out, these Rhythmic issues, They'll be back on form, I think, Apex. They had a little bit of a knock lately, when they started enforcing these rules sort of out the blue, but I think they got a bit of a sting in the tail. A few people moaned about it and stuff. So they got a bit of aggro from that, but I think they can, if they get this rhythmic issue sorted, I think they'll get back on track. Absolutely. It's got to be a headache for them because, if all of a sudden it happens to 500 people or 1,000 people, just think how many more emails, messages they got to shift through to clear all that up, which takes manpower, which costs money. So it's going to cost them as much as a headache, if not more, than it costs us. So they want to put it right. They want to get it working. And if they do, they'll put a lot of people's mind at rest. So that's good. Yeah, exactly. If you look at car manufacturers, they use certain parts from other companies. Lots of companies do. I mentioned this analogy with a washing machine. I know Zanussi, their electronics in Zanussi come from another company. But once you put it into your package and sell it, you're responsible for it. And I know Apex said, we sort our customers out. They do if there's a blanket outage, but if some poor guy is trading 10 of its accounts and Rhythmic all of a sudden, sort of starts to have problems and they lose that account that they've spent time and work for, and Apex goes, sorry, we're not responsible. It's heartbreaking. So, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, if you put your name, if you sell a package and you use something within that package, whether it be a car, a washing machine, or a TV, if you use a piece of software in that package that you sell, you're responsible for it, in my opinion. And I don't mean that nastily. It's the way business works. Talking about cars, we're car shopping at the moment. I'll tell you what, the price of cars have gone up massively. Unbelievable. My wife wants one of those little Mini Coopers. We're looking at a 5-6-year-old Mini Cooper for 10 grand. What's that about? I personally like Audis. We were looking at, or Mercedes. We were looking at like a C-Class or something. They're so expensive nowadays. I looked at an Audi the other day, an electric Audi. Was it 4 years old? £21,000. They are so expensive. Lovely cars, but so expensive. I hate car shopping, I've got to say. It's all right if you got endless amounts of money, but if you're on a budget, I'm not as fortunate as Alpine. I can't afford a 911 just at the moment. I've got a budget about £15,000, which in the second-hand car industry isn't a huge amount, really. Okay, so we've bounced off the bottom, like we bounced off there. So whether we got 2 channels down there, to me, it looks like a larger channel, I think. So I think that's probably what I'm going to treat it as. But it is 2 legs. Now, just because we haven't had a break in a new low isn't really irrelevant in a range. If it hits the right spot at the bottom, it can just turn and push up regardless of whether we have a break or not. Yeah, if you look at this one up here or to the left in this channel, it just came down, bounced, and up we went. So I wouldn't automatically expect to break at a new low if it had closed up here, but as it's gone down and bounced off that line, as far as I'm concerned, I'm treating that as a bounce off the bottom. So thinking about a short after a break of this channel isn't for me. So anybody know what's happening with Biden? Are they going to replace him? I don't like to see an old guy struggle like that, but it almost seems like his time's coming to an end, really. I don't mean life, I mean as president. He's quite an old guy now, isn't he? And I think he's starting to show signs of age a little bit too much to be, running a country. So I wonder if they're going to replace him. I don't know how your system works in the US, but there's probably something in place for if somebody... it is sad, really. None of us want to get old, but unfortunately, it's one thing we can't avoid. So what I'm thinking here, we've come off very similar to there. We had 2 legs back, so it'll be interesting to see if we trap some shorts here and then push up. So leg out, if we get a second entry long, a lower high giving us a second entry long to trap some shorts. You can bet your bottom dollar that there's going to be some shorts in there, and it may actually come down, but my gut feeling is that is a risky trade. But I can't just take the higher low in case it triggers. We get a lower high and it does come down, but that's come down low enough for me to think it's bounced off the bottom. It's a shame, really. You can't even pay for... I'd happily pay for my own data. But obviously you need some sort of software to connect your platform with Apex. I wouldn't mind paying for my own data if things are a lot more reliable. Oh. See, if he had some space up here, I wouldn't mind having a go at stuff like that because I'd be relatively confident that's going to get stopped out. Trouble is, we've got a couple of ticks. You pay monthly for Ninja Trader. Also, which broker do you use? Hayden, but anyway. Okay, so I bought my Ninja Trader license outright, but I don't trade my own capital currently. I trade 20 Apex PA accounts. So I don't have a broker. It's all sort of done through Apex. But I believe with Ninja Trader, I'm pretty sure they have their own brokerage, I think. I don't know whether you can use anybody else's. I know when I first started, there was, I think, Philip Capital and another one, and I traded a little bit unsuccessfully, as you probably know when I first started, with Philip Capital. But yeah, no, I trade with Apex. Much safer, less risk, much more profitable. Obviously, assuming you can trade and all that. You can connect to other broker. Okay, yeah. I know when I first started, if I remember, because obviously the currency exchange, if I withdrew, because obviously it's traded in dollars, if I withdrew from pounds to pounds, I had to pay £50 or $50 just to withdraw, which I thought was a bit strange. And then obviously, if it goes back into your bank account, then your bank are going to charge you an exchange fee. So it just was quite expensive, but that was going back 3 years. But I use, as one of my bank accounts now, I use Revolut. And the beauty about Revolut is if I can change any of my pounds in there to any other currency and keep it in that account as currency, and I can do that at current market value with no fees as long as I do it from Monday to Friday. So I can exchange my pounds for dollars, and I can pay it directly in as dollars, and I can withdraw it as dollars if I do. But I think brokers are getting better and better all the time, aren't they? They're getting more they're getting more competitive. But at the time, I think it was just two I could trade, Philip Capital, and Philip Capital seemed to be the easier one to use, the most clear to use. This trade told me that all GP are kept as GPC pay in. Oh, really? Things might have changed. But I know when I first put money in about 3 years ago, I stuck about £5,000 in. Big mistake. Don't ever do it, especially when you've only been trading a month. Trust me, it takes a lot longer than a month. But yeah, I'll check. Yeah, I mean, you can. I don't know whether it's the same anymore. I'm pretty sure it is, but you can. I paid about $1,000 or £1,000, I can't remember, for the Ninja Trader license. So when I trade it, I get a certain when I get the in and out, the fee to buy and sell a position, it's a bit cheaper. But I don't know what deals or offers they have on it now. But what I will say is if you trade it with a prop firm, you get free use of it. So you'll have to look into that. It is a good platform, I must say. It's very intuitive. It's very easy to use. Everything's quite clear. All your opening positions are nice and clear, nice and bright. So I like it. But there are others. I know other people. You're welcome. I know other people, that trade the same prop firm I do, use things like Sierra Charts and what's the other one? Quant Tower, and there are a few others. But for me, I like Ninja Trader. Spread betting. Where are you from? You're a UK guy, aren't you, I think? Spread betting. I'm not even 100% sure what spread betting is, but I know it's tax-free in the UK. There is you are, yeah, I thought you might be. Whereabouts? What part? Shropshire I'm in. But there's a YouTube channel, I'm pretty sure it's called Spread Betting something, UK guy. And they talk about it, but yeah, it's tax-free in the UK, which is always good. I'm not 100% sure exactly what it is. Perhaps I should. They are good, yeah, I like him actually. I've watched a lot of his stuff about psychology when I was sort of going through all that stuff. But yeah, what part of the UK are you from, bud? You basically trade a synthetic pair like US. Okay. I'm looking into it actually because it is tax free, isn't it? So if you can earn nice off it. Oh, is it? You're above that. Okay, I got you. Yeah, we get a few guys. There is one or two from the UK. One or two in London, I think, that pop in from time to time. Excuse me a sec. Sorry about that. Johnny from Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough. Sort of northeast, isn't it? Well, south of the northeast, isn't it? Middlesbrough. I've been up to Middlesbrough for a while, actually. Right, now let's have a look at this. Channel with a break, we actually haven't made a new low, so there's a little bullish bar there. Would you treat that as a failed breakout? I'd probably be thinking about a higher low personally, although it is a very small bar. It's only 4 ticks. Northeast, yeah, I got you. I used to live sort of, well, I say used to live. I used to live in Catterick. My stepdad was in the army and we lived in Catterick and we used to go to Redcar. Where's that? That's up there somewhere, isn't it? And is it Seaton Crew? Can't remember. I know Redcar, we used to go there as kids. Seaside Resort. Pretty sure that's around that area, isn't it? I think, if I remember rightly. Back in the day. So my stepdad had a silver Datsun, so that's how long ago it was. Yeah, it was only 4 ticks, that one. Worth a go, I think. Failed breakout. Well, a breakout that looks like it's failed anyway. I'm wondering whether we can bring this down here now. 15 minutes from, but yeah, that's it. We used to go there as kids. We lived in Catterick at the time, which is, I'm trying to think. Catterick, I think, is a few miles from Richmond. So it was probably our nearest sort of, seaside resort area. Yeah, my stepdad was in the military. So we spent some time in Catterick, North Yorkshire area. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere, I think. Yeah, a lot of ex-military people from that neck of the woods. On this chart here, oh, is it really? That's a shame. On this chart here, I may take a higher low if I get one. Let me have a look.
Order submitted.
Hopefully, if it stays small. British Steel, oh, is it really? That's a shame, isn't it? It's quite a small risk, I think. If it doesn't get any smaller than that, I may just take it for 6 ticks. Let's see. Oh, that's a doji, but it is a tick off it. Tough one, that is. I'm going to sit tight here, I think. Just in case we've had a break of this and we have a leg and a leg. As we know, a leg and a leg. There's liquidity down here, so this may come a bit lower.
Order
cancelled. Whether it will or not is a different story, but it may do. On this chart, I'd have preferred it to trigger that bearish bar. So we've got one leg down. We could get another one. So often when we know, as we know, market likes to move in twos, and it could clear up that liquidity from there. Whether it'll get down as far as that one or not, I don't know. Powell is still speaking, so I'll leave that there, but it doesn't seem to be making a massive difference. Trouble is with that, we haven't got much space to that EMA. I didn't like the doji, although it was a higher low. But there's not a massive amount of space to that EMA. Now, hopefully it'll go higher, but we could have a leg down, 2 legs back to the EMA and come and make test it again. But I don't think there's a massive amount of space from there to the EMA. It's gone up 1.25, so you'd have got a point at the most there, and now all of a sudden we're getting a bearish bar. I kind of hope this bearish bar triggers though, because then it might give us a slightly wider channel up, because I wouldn't want to be going short from there. That to me would be a mistake. So if we can get a bearish bar and trigger it, I may go long there. We'll see, because we've come right down to the bottom here, to be honest with you. That's interesting. So let's see if that second entry short triggers. See if that position gets taken, I'm holding out. If it doesn't, I may go long, because there's going to be traders in that for sure. It may work. It's got below that now, so if you went long there, you got stopped out. Let's see if that position holds there. How much would you have gotten? You'd have got a point, because you got to push through. So I'm looking at this small chart to your left. I'd have to wait for the higher low really, because it could trigger you, give a lower high and come down, so then we could have 1 leg and 2 legs. But there is a possibility that there may be something wider. Touch, touch, touch. So it actually really fits kind of nice. But do I really want to go short into all that? Last time we were down here, we pushed up. Unfortunately, nothing I can take here. Trouble is, if there is a bigger channel, we're right at the very top there, so going along, even though it might break above there, is still not advisable for me. Okay, so I want to break above there, which I'm pretty sure we will, but we're right at the top of the channel if indeed it is a channel. So I'd like to break above there, stop out that, make 2 legs down and give us something here maybe to go up. But Powell is still speaking, so... well, that position is still holding. The stop for the second entry short is still holding. I don't think it will. So, looking at this, that second entry short off the EMA, the stop is intact and we're starting to pull back. For me, I think it's still I'd like to see a second entry long off here, but this needs to come down significantly, and I don't think it's going to. I still think it'll get taken out. I'll be amazed if it doesn't. So there's a bearish bar there, which is triggered. Looks better on the other chart. There's another bearish bar. I'd like to see that trigger. If that triggers, there's 2 lots of shorts trapped. As far as I'm concerned, this is more likely to go up. That's down low enough for me. It's down twice and then lower still, which cleans out anything here. But I could be wrong. We could come down again. There is a possible failure there, but it's so jammed up. It's just backed up sideways. It could chop you up that. My gut tells me it's more likely to go up, but it just doesn't make sense for me to trade in this at the moment because it could come down a bit lower. Not only that, that failure really needs to be above that EMA, and it doesn't look like it's going to get there. Although it is pushing. Okay, so if you did take that, that is not what you want to see. It's triggered there, but it hasn't triggered on the chart above to the left. But it is choppy, so it's risky. This could come down here. So there is a second entry short on this chart, which triggered and hasn't been stopped out as yet. It continues to go sideways, so my gut feeling is it's probably still going to get stopped out. But look at this. I really wouldn't want to go long at the moment, see. We'll see. See what happens. I mean, if you look at this, we've been down here comfortably. We've had 3 bars come down here. We broke a bit lower than that, and we've pushed up quite strongly. So, you know, I'd like to think we're going to push up there. We've got shorts trapped, that's for certain. Selling short on my chart, I'm using Pro Real Time. Second entry short, yeah. See, after we've come down here with this and this, taking a short here or a long here for me is risky, but it doesn't mean it won't work. It's just a little bit choppy. You know, we're ranging at the moment, so every time we come off the bottom, we're going to the tops and vice versa. So we've had this channel down with a break. So there is a possibility we could have a new low, but this is just a bit unclear. So I'm tend to be a bit super strict at the moment. So I'm staying out of this just at the minute. See, for me, there is more shorts in this trade. Hidden second entry short, which is triggered. That bar there, which is triggered. That bar there, which is triggered. And now we push up. So it's a bit hard to say. I'd say, personally, it's more likely to push above this and stop that out. That's what my feeling is. But it is congested. So it may not, but my gut tells me if it breaks above there, it's going to take out some shorts there and there, but you never know. It's confusing enough for me to want to stay out of it. I think we need a new look. Well, the thing is, if you look at, let me have a look. Sometimes we just don't get one if we're ranging. If you look at this channel here, can you see that one there on the smaller chart? We're coming from the top to bottom. We came down in a nice channel, bounce, went straight up. So sometimes if we get low enough to the channel, we won't necessarily come down and make a new low. Sometimes we will. But if we get as low as that with 3 bars and push up quite strongly, it's enough for me to not want to take a short into that. So this to me is a little battle with maybe shorts and longs, but my gut tells me it's going to get above that line. And if it does, it'll take out a few stops. And once it gets above there, the next level, I think, really is towards the tops. But you just never know. We've pushed up and gone a little bit sideways. So it's just enough for me to stay out of this one. Because, you know, 1 minute looks like it's pushing up now. It could just completely turn. So for me, this has just got risk written all over it going short. You know, that bar there, it triggered it, it went straight back up and it held. So you're held by the skin of your teeth there, and it came only so far down before turning again. But it is choppy. See what I mean? 1 minute looks like it's going to pop above there. Next minute, we're looking quite bearish. So It's unpredictable here, so a sensible thing for me to do would be just to stay out of it. You know, I'm pretty sure that one, if I had to put money in it, but I'm not a gambler, I'm a trader now. There was times you could have said I was more of a gambler than a trader, but it is a bit unclear. But I've learnt the hard way. Just sit and be patient, and that a little bit of extra patience often pays off. But I'll be sure that's going to get stopped out. Yeah. So if you took a trade there, or you took that bearish bar there, or even that one, you got stopped out. There's more liquidity here. It makes sense here because channel down, there's going to be shorts trapped for sure. But now look, it is starting to look bullish. So my gut is it's going to continue on up. But, you know, there is liquidity here, so could come down and have another go. It's so hard to say. You know, we had that nice big strong push up. Look, it still came back and had another go. I think if we can close above here somewhere, I think it'll continue on up. So that one might not have been a bad trade. It's unsafe, really. If you know what you're looking at, you could probably go for that one. You know, if I'd have been trading one account or an evaluation, I'd have jumped in there for sure. But I don't want to risk. What is it? 2 points. I don't want to risk $2,500 on it. So I'll be looking for 2 points there, which we haven't got yet. But I think we're up high enough now to continue on up. So I would say that'll reach that. If it doesn't do it now, yeah, so you'd have got 2 points. It's more likely going to come down over to here, I think, but I'd say up is more likely, but you'd have got 2 points off that. But I'd say for me now, it's more likely going to continue on up. So yeah, there was a failure there, but I tend to like taking failures a little bit more towards being above that EMA. But that to me there, it looks better on this other chart. There's clearly a second entry short after this, but because we've been down so low, for me, the shorts are going to get trapped. If we wouldn't have come down that low, I mean, that is convincing that it's bounced. We've pushed down nice and solidly. We've come back up. We've dropped again. We've broken below it, cleared up any liquidity there, and pushed up relatively strong. But there's obviously going to be some shorts in here thinking of retesting this. But for me, it was more likely going to push up above here. And once it gets above here, you're taking out 2 lots of possible shorts. Certainly there, or look at even better on there for there. If I took that trade there on the smaller chart, I'd be convinced I'd lose that trade. So if I think like that, what position wouldn't I like to be in here? That would have been it there. It is a second entry short, but we've come down that low for me to say, you know, I mean, we've broke the previous low. That one's held, but that's okay. But we've broke both of these lows and we've had 3 bars, bounce, 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 and then push up. So for me, that second entry short to the lows is risky as hell. So I'd expect that to get stopped out. So the best one really that I can see, the strongest bull bar here, is probably that one to take us above it. But the reason I left it is because it's a bit congested. So sometimes it can upset you. But yeah, sometimes if you get a channel down, it gets low enough, we won't get a new low. See there, depends on how you see that. We got a channel down there and a quick drop. We had an attempt at coming down, but it didn't make a new low. So sometimes we won't. If it gets, you know, high enough to the top of the channel, to the top of the trend channel, or low enough. But it's pretty much working within this range right from early, I think. So we're pretty much closing within 11 points. Trouble is, I'm not a massive fan. I'm not particularly. It's not one of my strong points picking tops and bottoms. But there are a couple that I wish I'd have taken. That would have been one of them at the time. The tops was here at the time. We had a little bit of a fail breakout, one leg up, two legs up, and this second leg was broken clearly into two, so that would have worked really nice. There was also that one, but the way that shot up really strongly put me off that, so I left it. There was a lower high then, but then it's a little bit boxy here, isn't it? So I stayed out of it, but it did work. So in all honesty, that one I think was worth the risk. I think it was only 4 ticks. If I go a tick above it and a tick below it, pretty sure it's only 6 ticks. Less than that. You're only risking 1.25 on that trade. And if you'd have taken it, you'd have got your money back before the second bar finished. But if you're going to risk a small amount, it may be worth taking a little bit more. Every day here, and here, we're making new highs. Maybe a thinner channel there, really. I wish I'd have had a go at that now. I was very tempted. It was a very small risk, 1.25 with a tick above, tick below. It's about as good as it gets. And that worked nice. First couple of bars, you're in and you're out. And that one as well, I wish I'd have taken that one. Especially as it broken above all that. So you could consider that as a failed breakout. We've been up here a bunch of times. That one I looked at, I was very seriously got into that one. And that one would have worked, but just that it's a little bit stacked up maybe concerned me a little bit. So there'll be some liquidity, I'd say, there. And then I think we're home free to the top. Okay, a little bounce there. Are we going to have a break here? Is it going to work? Once we get above here, then I think it'll be pretty plain sailing to the top. Okay, looks like we're going to have a break here. We get above here. It'll be pretty clear, I think. Up to the top then. Well, he's still going at it, Powell is. So it's taken a while. What time did he start? 3 o'clock. So he's been at it for 2 hours. We haven't. It hasn't really affected it. In all honesty, I don't think. The only thing that it was that not long after he started that quick couple of bull bars push up, but it hasn't really done anything. In all fairness, so it'd be interesting to see if we get a break here down to this line here, and we end up having a bigger channel. See if it picks up this line now. It's actually not a bad range day as it stands. It's pretty consistent. It started off here and then we opened it up a little bit, but it's pretty consistent. The tops are, some of these range days, they're bouncing all over the bloody place. Every time we have a top and a bottom, it's different. We got down here, a couple here, down here. Sometimes they're all over the place. But it's been pretty bullish for the last few days. We just seem to be every day we're making a new high there, new high there, new high here, and there. So it's quite strong at the moment. So it makes sense we have a day where we're going a bit sideways. We haven't done for a while. We started off a bit sideways there and ended a little bit there with that push up, but this is pretty consistent. So the trouble is, if there is something larger there, it kind of fits here. So this may be where we eventually get a bit higher if we do. If we can get a nice second entry down here, we may get a trade, yeah. Is it going to break there? Go, surely. It's really struggling to get above there. Looks like someone doesn't want it breaking above there. Oh, now we have done. Now what's going to happen? Are we going to go strong? Yeah, there's nothing stopping it really here anyway, so you naturally think the next place is here. Could be one of these days today. Okay, 5 or 10 minutes and I'm done for the day, I think. It's one of them days, I think, today. It is. I just wish I'd have taken that one. But there you go. The trouble is it moved that quick. To be quick. But Powell is still speaking. So there is a possibility of something larger. And that's the bottom of the channel, so it could continue on up. But it's just so damn slow. I hate it when it's slow. I'd rather it either moves quick or not. You know, or just... there's nothing worse than it's slow. Hey Thomas, how you doing, bud? Making a new high, yeah, on a wider channel. Yeah, it's hard to say. I know Thomas Wade's got it as a larger channel. On there, but now we've got this break up here, so it's hard to say. This to me, I think, is more likely an overshoot. Well, it's hard to say. You could go from here, couldn't you? It's one of those things. You know, you could go for, I don't know. I certainly expected to get up to here and maybe even tackle that that bearish bar there. I'd like to see it break above there, but once we got above here, picking off that liquidity there, the next level really is up here, and then it moved pretty strong actually, which is I think why we had this bit of an overshoot. But I don't think it's going to make a difference. We're only a few ticks from the top really. So whether it will come back a bit first before it pushes higher, I don't know. I'd say probably not, as we're so close. He's just finished Powell. God for that. I thought it was going to go on forever. So Powell is done and dusted. No longer speaking. How's Bitcoin doing? Not too bad. I'm waiting for the next setup to short at the top. My only slight concern with that, bud. Remember I had this larger channel going from here. Like that. If I just bring in something, there's another guy with it there. And you can see it's bounced off. And also, Taylor has put that in there as well. So there is a possibility of a larger channel. And if there is a larger channel, we've hit the bottom of it, and that could continue on up. So it's a possibility. So as it's been so strong lately and pushing up, I think the safer trades are long from the bottom rather than short from the top. I mean, don't get me wrong, it could come halfway down and work. But I don't think my natural instinct at the moment is to look for a short. It's hard to say, mate, isn't it? It's when it's like this, who knows? I expected that to push at the top there, and look at that big quick drop. Sometimes you get a drop. You may be taking your profits there and thinking, well, why wait to the bottom? We've had an overshoot. But it may come back here for a couple of legs and may encourage a few more buyers to jump in down here somewhere to ride it back up to the top. There'll be liquidity up here. And if it is, if there is a bigger bullish channel, that's probably going to get eaten up. So I think it'd still be likely it pushes up. Now, whether it has a break or a couple of legs down before it eventually pushes up, I don't know. It's horrible when it's slow. I hate trading when it's slow. Mind you, I don't like trading when it's too volatile either, but at least when it's moving quicker, it gives you a sense of direction. At the moment, it's kind of slow and stagnant. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about the barking. My wife's just come home from work. I'm going to start howling now. Sorry about the howling. We got two cockapoos, but they act like bloody huskies. Okay, let's see if we can get up here now. See, there is an overshoot, so a lot of the times in an overshoot we'll come back, make a new high, and then come in this direction. So it depends what it looks like there. I may consider a short. See if we're a bigger channel here, I wouldn't expect it just to continue on up. I'd expect it to come back first. If we're doing something like this, I expect it to come back and maybe make a wider channel. So a short in the right place would be okay, I think, for a couple of points. But it's got to get above this really to clear out this. Okay, excuse me just for one quick minute. I'm just going to take just a quick bathroom break. Okay. So quick push above there and a little drop. Now I wouldn't be thinking of taking that. Personally. So what time is it? 51. Another 9 minutes and I am done for the day, I think. But definitely, yeah, pretty clear range day today. It'd be interesting to see later where we're at, whether we're up here somewhere, but I wouldn't be surprised. But somebody mentioned earlier, Al Brooks talking about was it a 10% drop? 10%? It's a bit much, that is 10%. It's a lot. It's a big drop, that is 10%. But if you look at the daily, it is very strong. We've had such a lot of buying. Looked at Mac's video from yesterday, actually. He said at the beginning of July, did he really? See, we're bouncing, aren't we? So, trouble is, you can only keep going up for so long, can't you? The more you go up, it's gone up 2% since then. Yeah. $10 sounds like a lot, doesn't it? Where are we now? 56. So be 560 points down. 10% would be. Oh, yeah, it does, doesn't it? You can only keep going up for so long, can't you? I mean, if you look at the daily, let's change this to the daily. Just change this chart. In fact, let's leave that there because it messes around with me stuff here. Let me just, let's change this to the daily and have a look. But we've just been going up and up and up and up. What the hell's going on here? What is going on? It's like all the trades I've been taking recently. Why won't that get rid of it? That one, isn't it? It's not working much, is it? How strange is that? Anyway, we get the picture, don't we? I can't even hide it all, can I? So let's do that. Strange that's doing that, isn't it? But yeah, look at all that buying, and then we had to pull back and up again. That's strange. Something's not working right with IntraDrader. I might have to redo something. Anyway, yeah. So, I expected this to get a little bit higher. Ideally, take out that, or at least get close to it. Data series. Let's have a look. I've got do not plot though, so I don't know why the hell it's doing that on the daily. Plot execution. I've got it. Do not plot, so nothing should come up theoretically, should it? That's weird. Let's right click, duplicate this one, see if I get the same here. Yeah, it is weird, isn't it? So look on the daily there. I'd say some of this is corrupt, I'd say. So I may need to give NinjaTrader a quick email and find out what's going on, but there's corruption somewhere, isn't there? What is going on? Yeah, look, it's almost see-through. What is going on here? Yeah, something's corrupt. Strange. Okay, that's working fine. Let's just clear out some of that. Now let's try it. Daily. Oh, okay. That seems to work okay, so that's strange. But yeah, I mean, we've had a ton of buying, haven't we? I think, wasn't this a lot of the back end of, we still had a load of crap from COVID, didn't we? I don't know. But yeah, we've had this big push up, bit of a pullback and another strong push up. So we have gone up a lot, really, haven't we? I mean, since November, we've gone up about 1,500 points. It's quite strong, isn't it? So you would think, yeah, it would. We could have a decent pullback at some point. Just can't go short there. It's messing around with there. It's not quite up enough for me, really. Excuse me just a second. Right, okay, I think I'm done for today, folks. I'm not happy to trade at the moment. It's hard to know what's going to go on. Possible overshoot, new high, it could come down strong. But not a terrible day. There was a couple of trades around. That one I think was worth taking, but I didn't. And that one as well, I don't tend to... it's not one of my strong points, tops and bottoms, but sometimes before I have the bottle to get into them, they kind of move already. And that one did move pretty quick. So there you go. I am sorted for the day. So best of luck if you keep trading. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully. We'll get out of this range today. We'll have something a bit better tomorrow. So I appreciate all your comments. Have a great day. Stay safe, and I'll be back same time tomorrow. Bye for now.